What's going on, you guys? Full Steer, and I'm back with another video. Today's video, I'll be doing an in-depth SKARNER jungle guide. He is really overpowered right now. He's definitely one of the better junglers you can play. Even though his main rune, or his rune, got nerfed, the Unsealed Spellbook, it is still a very, he's still very good. Doesn't matter too much. The reason you go Unsealed Spellbook on SKARNER actually is also because of the Summoner Spell reduction. It's the best one he can get, so a lower flash cooldown will help him out a lot in just getting those engages off more often. And that's really all you're looking for. So, yeah, all that being said, let's just get into the runes now, straight up. So again, Unsealed Spellbook, the one you want to go for. After that, you have two options between, like, Perfect Timing or Magical Footwear. It kind of depends on what you want, really. Honestly, on SKARNER, I usually pick the Magical Footwear. You have enough speed to run through your jungle anyway with your, your points, or whatever you call those. So you can just get this and then get boots. Be a little bit faster later on. It's also going to help you out in just catching people to be faster later on. Like, all you're really looking for is just catching people out with E and with your ultimate and all that stuff. So if you're faster, that's going to help you more. So usually I go for those Magical Footwear boots. But you can also go with Perfect Timing if you want to. I mean, that is up to you, honestly. They're both pretty good runes. Now here, there's really not a good option. I tend to prefer Futures Market because it allows me to just buy, like, those items of your Trinity Force a little bit faster. You might get, like, a kill early game by ganking, which happens quite often on SKARNER. You get, like, a gank off on your top lane or maybe bot lane or anything like that. You hit an E, you walk up, you auto attack. You're going to be left with, like, clearing your jungle. You're going to be left with, like, 1,000 gold or 900 gold, and then Futures Market's going to allow you to buy a Sheen, for example. Like, all those types of things, I just find this to be very useful, like the most useful one out of all of these, really. So that's why I go for the Futures Market out of this one. Now here, I mean, you have a few options. I tend to prefer the Cosmic Insight here because of the, like, straight up CDR you get across the board. It gives you lower ult cooldown, it gives you lower, like, flash cooldown, everything. So it's gonna allow you to go in more with your ult flash, catch people out. So, yeah, that's the one you want to go for on SKARNER for sure. Now, the secondary tree, there is a couple of options in the secondary tree which you could go for, really. You could go, like, a tanky option if you need, like, some tenacity help against the enemy team. You can go, like, an unflinching combination with maybe conditioning if you want some more tankiness. You can go for, like, Revitalize or a... like, Revitalize works really well with your W on SKARNER. But... yeah, usually I tend to prefer conditioning because it gives me that nice extra, like, tanky boost. Like, you're building pretty tanky on SKARNER anyway, so that 8 armor, 8 magic resist, and also the 5% is going to help you quite a good amount. So that's one of the options, but the one I usually go for on SKARNER, and the one I find the best one, is the Ultimate Head with Celerity. The reason I go for this is because the Ultimate Head will give you a lot of extra CDR on your ultimate, which is going to be very, very useful. You want that ult on a low cooldown, on as low as possible. So picking up the Ultimate Head is definitely going to help you out the most. And then Celerity, obviously, for the movement speed, it's going to help you out a lot as well. You need to get that movement speed. You're building a lot of movement speed based items on SKARNER as well to be effective. So having that extra movement speed on Celerity is going to help you catch people even easier. So this is the best setup. But then if you're facing high CC comps, you might give this up for the Resolve tree with what I just mentioned, the CC reduction and, like, a conditioning or something like that. But this is, most of the times, this is like 95% of the games, this is my SKARNER page, apart from that CC comp stuff. And this one is changeable, really. I guess if you prefer Biscuit delivery system over Futures Market, you can do that as well. But that doesn't matter too much. So the runes. Let's move on to the item build. Let's create a new item set. Right. So starting items on SKARNER, you want to go for the machete. It is the best starter item on SKARNER. Sure, people will say, oh, but you will spam your Q a lot and all that with your, like, you can spam your Q a lot, so the other one could help you as well. I mean, really, you have your points, like, you're in your jungle, that if you just stand on it, you're gonna auto-attack so much. Like, this is gonna give you so much extra damage, like, way more extra damage than the other one ever could. Plus, you don't really lose any health on SKARNER, so getting the other one for, like, health regen doesn't really help you all that much. So, it really, it's not necessary. Your points will give you enough, and the machete will just give you a faster clear speed, which is really what you're looking for. So that, combined with a refillable potion, because you barely lose any health on SKARNER, really. When you're clearing your jungle, you can completely clear your jungle and lose, like, 200 HP by just using your shield, stunning certain camps, and just having a lot of extra damage from your points. That's just your starting items, and then we move on to what you want to build after that. Now, On Skarner, really, the item you want to rush as fast as possible is the Triforce. This item gives you literally everything you could want, but also like it gives you a good amount of damage, movement speed, CDR, attack speed. Like, it's a really good item, plus it synergizes really well. The Sheen effect synergizes really well with Skarner, since you can just proc it easily with your Q. So this was like your main damage item, and this is the item you always just want to straight rush. This is what I go for on Skarner. I just straight rush my Trinity Force. If you have the magical footwear, you don't have to worry about buying boots either. You can just go for Trinity Force straight up, just rush it out. And then after Triforce, you can continue your build. This is usually what I do. If you are falling behind, though, a good, like, safety net, sort of safety net, is picking up, like, just the Stalker's Blade Smite before you finish this. Like, it's gonna cost you 650 gold towards your Triforce, so it's gonna slow you down a little bit. Yeah, Triforce is a very big power spike, but if you need, like, the help catching people, if your lanes aren't doing too hot, then the Stalker's Blade is gonna give you a nice safety net, because it's gonna allow you to be topped off on HP at all times in your jungle, due to the effects. And then you also just have the extra potential to catch people and the extra slight potential to just get those plays going. So you kind of need that in those situations. But if you're like doing pretty okay, you can easily farm your jungle, you're not getting pressured too much, you get like 1 or 2 kills. Just an average like Skarner game, then going straight Triforce Rush is better, and then finishing off your jungle item later is just the way to go. So the Stalker's Blade is always pretty much going to be finished into a Cinderhawk. You don't really want anything else on Skarner. Nothing else here really helps you out. You just want the extra tankiness from Cinderhawk. It's going to provide you with a lot of extra HP. It's going to be very useful to you as well. Plus, the magic damage to nearby like enemies in combat is going to help you a lot as well. So you're going to try to stick towards people a lot, like stick on people a lot. But also, like clearing your jungle camps, you can combine this Cinderhawk effect with your Qs, and you're just going to burn through every camp. So it's going to speed up your jungle clear even more. I mean, honestly, after a Triforce, you don't really need to speed up your jungle clear that much more, but I mean, it doesn't hurt, you know. Really, also, you want to go for straight tank items with Skarner, so having that extra health here and then combining that with tank items is going to give you way more than any of these other smites would. You can also go for like the warding smite as well, the tracker's knife, or the skirmishers if you want to, but generally blue smite's better just for that catch potential on Skarner. You can just blue smite somebody and then easily hit your E, or maybe just ult them, catch up to ult them, that's what I meant. So, yeah. And boots on Skarner, I mean, it's pretty straight up. You can go for like the Ninja Tabi or the Mercs, depending on like what you're facing really. I guess if you want to, you could also go for these boots to get more summoner spell cooldown reduction, to have more flashes up, but I really don't find it that important. It's better to have like the extra tankies from Ninja Tabi in most games, so that's what I usually go for. Now, this is pretty much like the core 3 items of your build. You'll build this every single game. After this, you get some variables, depending on the enemy team. Very much depending on the enemy team. So you have, like, straight up other movement items is a tab you can easily use, because there's a lot of good items for Skarner in this tab. You want to be able to just catch people with that. So usually other move speed items, I will go for Deadman's Plate as, like, one of my main tank items for an armor item, unless I am facing the heavy crit comps. So, like, Yasuo mid, for example, or anything like that. Like, just, you'll notice, like, heavy crit comps, like Shaco's are very good opponents to build a Renowins into, because of the fact that they just guarantee crit you. So that will reduce a lot of that damage. So in those situations, I will pick the Renowins as my first armor, like my first main armor item instead of Deadmans. But usually I go for Deadmans because of the fact that it just gives you all that extra movement speed, which makes it easier for you to, like, engage with your ultimate. So that's really what you want to look for with that. Now, apart from that, really, it's other movement speed items. This item is great on Skarner, the Righteous Glory as well. You can just pop that, run at someone with really high speed, and then as soon as you get in range, you can ult them, or even slow them down once you get close enough, and then you can E, and then you can stun them, and then you can ult them. You can do all kinds of stuff with the Righteous Glory. This is usually the item I will pick up if I'm a good amount ahead. So I'll pick this up, and then I'm like a decent amount ahead, and I'll pick up a Righteous Glory. Like, it's just gonna give you the extra just speed boost to get in range to just kill people, you know, just to catch them out. That's really, really crucial. You can really make a lot work with the Righteous Glory. Now, other great items are also the Z's Rod Portal. It gives you a lot of extra movement speed near turrets, so if you're chasing people down through a lane, you're going to be able to catch them a lot easier. Plus, if you're facing like split pushers, this can be a very beneficial item to you as well, because then you can place this gate and then make it like a side lane push out whilst you're fighting somewhere else, or just in general make a side lane push out and then go somewhere else. This is actually a very, very like good item on Skarner, but not a lot of people buy it. I don't know why really, because it just gives you that much extra move speed towards like enemies whilst you're like hunting them in lane. that in many games, many situations, I've tried this out and it's just actually just giving me the kill just because of the sheer amount of move speed boost you get. Also, it gives you a lot of free gold if you just place it in the side lane and then go to group with your team. It gives, like, it can easily give you like 1,000 gold in a game if you use it properly. So that's actually very nice too. This is one of the other items I tend to pick up like after like my triple item if I'm not doing too well, but then I can use the CZ Rod portal to kind of bring myself back in the game, because CZ Rod will give me the farm from the side lane that no one will be in, and then that way you can still get some money out of it. So it's a very good item as well on SKARNER. Now, really, the other items here don't really help you too much. You can still get like a Knight's Vow if you want to help someone out on your team, but usually like the CZ Rod with like a Deadman's Blade combination is very good. CZ Rod is also pretty much my go-to magic resist item on SKARNER. I don't really build anything else magic resist wise because nothing really gives you that much. I will sometimes in some games go for the adaptive helmet into certain situations, into certain opponents that just keep doing the same type of spell damage to you. Then this is a very, very good tank item. And if my support doesn't build Locket or didn't build Locket, then I might consider building on Locket as well in some situations to just have that extra shield on your team. But in most games, your support will like purchase the Locket, so you should be fine on that front. You shouldn't really have to worry about it too much. Another great item on SKARNER is like to round builds out as a stone plate, because it gives you the like a lot of extra tank potential. So in some games, this can be very beneficial to you as well. The most common combination, if I'm doing pretty well in the game, is the Righteous Glory with like a CZ Rod portal and a Deadman's Blade for me. If I'm then again facing crit, then I might just replace the Deadman's Blade or even the Righteous Glory for the Randuins. And the reason most of the time I'll replace the Righteous Glory because I just find it's a little bit more reliable movement speed boost. This will obviously be very nice. It's just like a quick burst of movement speed, but this is more consistent, so this is going to give you overall more speed, so I usually make that trade-off. But yeah, that's pretty much the SKARNER build, honestly. I don't think there's anything I've missed. If you have any questions on the SKARNER build, make sure to ask them in the comments below. I'll do my best to help those people out that have questions. Also, if you've enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the thumbs up. It means a lot, helps me a lot. And yeah, let's get right into the gameplay now. Alright, welcome to the gameplay section of this guide. As you can see, I'm playing SKARNER, obviously. Into the Shaco. This matchup is not bad for SKARNER at all. Mainly if he invades you on your first 2 points. Because if you get the point and then fight him, then you're most likely going to win. Oh. If you don't get the point and then fight him, you're likely to lose. So it just depends on what Shaco does. If he invades me, he starts like the other side of the map on his blue buff and maybe invades my red. The only thing that has to be made sure if you want to face this matchup is whether the Shaco starts your other buff. So you need your top laner to probably cover for you in order for that to work out for you. If you don't do that way, then Shaco can start your other buff and you will not know whether he did that or not. So you won't know whether you have to invade him or not, because Shaco doesn't necessarily need a leash. Now this game specifically, top laner didn't cover, but we did have vision on Shaco when he started, so I knew where he was going to start. He was going to start his bot side of the map, so we would have been fine either way. Jax takes my point before he goes to lane, which, I mean, if that is what he wants to do, that is what he can do. But that will mean that he will know when I will be on my red buff, since I will take the point before I do my buff. If you don't do it, then, I mean, you can avoid getting the point, but it's not worth it, really. Now here, I barely missed the kill out on Jax. The way you want to do it with SKARNER early ganks is as you can see right here, a little bit further back, actually. So I just walk in from behind, from the side here. This Jax is all the way up here right now, so he's definitely should be a free one, but Yorick overextends a little too much, gets hit. You have to ideally you want to auto attack him first, then E him, or get in range and then E him from close range, because that way you will be able to slow him with your red buff, so your E will be easier to land, but you might sometimes have to snipe him with your E as well. So that just depends on the situation here, really. But right there, just you E first, or you auto attack, then E, and then stun him from that E, and then you can go from there. You rarely ever want to lead with your ultimate if you do have your ultimate. It's better to lead with E and then just stun him that way, or even lead with E, then ult him, then you can still auto attack after the stun him with E in place. That's the best way to go about it, because then you'll just be able to lock him down for the longest period of time. So always lead with E if you can. leading with an auto attack is better, because then your E is easier to land, especially if you have red buff. But you don't necessarily have to do that. You can also just get close and then land the E that way. Trying to snipe someone with E gets a little bit tricky because your E isn't the fastest particle. So you have to take good note of that. I mean, right now I have 1,000 gold, so that's a pretty good one to go back with just to get a Sheen. Like I had precisely enough for Sheen. I have the futures market, so I could just spend a little bit more, get my Sheen that way. Sheen's very good on Skarner. You can get a lot of damage out of that because you do proc it a lot with, and proc it easily with your Q effect. The trick for this, by the way, is you always want to be able to pull the Grom back towards this circle, so you can do it within your circle. It just saves you some time because you get extra stats in your circle, of course, and then that's just a faster clear. Now right here, I'm halfway to level 6. The Diana is pushing up the lane a little bit, and I mean, I could look for a gank, but it's really not going to happen. The main thing I just want is my camps to respawn. Just waiting around a little bit, maybe someone will overextend, but then again, the Jack's recently backed, and there's really nothing for me to do, so I'm just kind of like waiting around. Maybe looking for the play on Diana, depending if she gets overextended a little bit. Zed does get ganked by the Shaco though, sadly, so that didn't really work out for us that well. My lanes are doing pretty poorly at the moment. Both mid and top lane are 0 and 2. So that's a bad sign for this game so far. It's definitely gonna have to come down to how you play this, or how we play this out later in the later stages of the game, because we need to respect the enemy team right now. All their lanes have an advantage. The Vayne's up on CS in Kog'Maw, which is quite unfortunate as well. Kog'Maw did get nerfed within this patch, or that I'm playing in right now, so I'm not sure whether he should win that matchup or not. Probably like decently even, I suppose. I don't know. Now Jax also kills the Yorick again, so he is 0-3. My mid laner is 0-2. Bot lane is behind, so that puts me in quite an awkward position here. Now we just see the Jax overextending easily. Zed roams up. We get the kill on Jax. We get the wave from top lane. I mean, at this point, it's better if I just take as much farm as possible for my top laner / mid laner, because they're so far behind already that it's better if you get the lead yourself a little bit than like trying to freeze that for Yorick. I could have tried to freeze that wave for the Yorick, but it isn't really going to help him that much because Jax is still going to be very far up, and there's really just nothing I can do. Alright, here Diana invades me. Sadly, the Zed doesn't have any reaction time. Like he was, as you can see right here, a little bit further back. Now right here, Zed's going towards mid lane. We do have a ward here, so we actually kind of technically spotted Diana. I must not have seen her either. I must just have missed that a little bit, but hey. So she was walking top lane. I probably wasn't paying attention to that because I should have seen her on this ward, so I should have known she was right here. She does have this warded. Their team has this warded, so Diana comes here from me. But then, like, as soon as she collapses, the Zed is still, like, kind of jacking off on his minions. I stalled a lot of time by using my ultimate and stunning Diana and everything. But if he didn't, like, if he only reacted faster, we probably would have killed Diana. And I think I would have survived that because I could have still, like, stunned him right after that and all that. I think we had some leeway there if he reacted a little bit faster, but what can you do, man? What can you do? That's one of those situations where, like, you just get invaded, and if no one reacts, then you just die. So that was that outcome, really. I do pick up my Stalker's Blade here. Usually I don't pick up the jungle item, or like the half of the jungle item, like early on. I usually just rush Triforce on Skarner. But if you're not doing too well, or if your team's not doing too well, you actually kind of need that Stalker's Blade in order to be able to help you catch people. Because that little bit of extra damage, but also the extra catch potential is going to be very important in getting certain kills right now. Also, it's going to give you a little bit more safety in your jungle, like just clear-wise, just a little bit. So that's definitely necessary at this point because of the fact that they're so far ahead and I need to be top on HP at all times. If I'm not, then I'm going to have a problem if they invade me like the Diana just did. So definitely in those situations, you definitely need to pick that up. Now here my magical boots kick, and I get those magical boots now. That is really good. I just have to, like, farm this out. That's the best thing I can do right now. Farm this out as much as possible and look for as many ganks as I possibly can. That will still work out. You don't try to perform when your lanes are losing, like this one. Like, every lane is losing. Like, the enemy team has a complete advantage right now. So, in those situations, you just want to make sure that you farm up the best you can and then just go from there. If you start trying to gank too hard, then that's how the game is going to go down. Like, that's how it's going to go from, like, a winnable game to an unwinnable game really fast. Now, right here, Blue Smite helping me out a lot, helps me land my E. I stun him, I drag him backwards, CC him as long as possible. Sadly, he does still get out though. Yorick doesn't have the damage to be able to like make that play work. And then he right there lives again on like 1 HP, so that's really unfortunate. Now here I do still pick up the Shaco though. I went for the right target and not for the wrong one, so that's really good for me. I do get a kill out of that, so honestly that's a worth it trade because we do get the Shaco there. We do get a shutdown gold, and the Yorick wasn't worth much anyway, so we traded 1-for-1 with the Yorick versus Shaco. That's definitely a trade you want to take. Also, that Shaco just gave me a free double buff. So that's really good for me as well. That's going to help me out a lot. Alright, here, just going back to farming. Like, my camp is up. I need to make sure I clear it. I need to make sure I keep my farm going, because that's the way I'm going to be able to win this game. Skarner isn't the hardest carry in the game. I'm going to have to rely a little bit on my Kokma this one, because you don't have that much damage by yourself. You're more like an engage type champion that has a decent amount of damage, but mostly just lockdown and engage potential. Alright, here, I see the Jax backing in that brush. He tried to, like, fight me, and I win that, because, I mean, I have a Sheen, I do a lot more damage, and I have an extra shield. He also tried to disrespect me with his ultimate, like, right when he's about to kill me, but then I pressed my W, Q'd him, and then I killed him instead, which was quite a good one. Alright, here, my jungle camps are up, so I have to make sure I keep clearing those camps. Like, wait for your Grom to get in, stay in the circle like this. That's always the way you want to clear it. You would just pull it out with your E, it walks up to you, and you start hitting it. Alright, here, just casual camp clearing still. There you go. Mid lane right now, just smite the Diana real quick, ult him. That's like the combo you want to do, to catch people with. You just smite someone, walk up to him, ult him, drag him back. That's why I picked up that blue smite early as well, like to try to make those plays work. Because those are the type of plays you're going to be able to easily catch people with, and those are the type of plays you definitely need it for teams behind. So you can't really rush into your Triforce all that fast. I do have my Triforce now, so I do have quite a lot of damage. I have 104 CS, so I'm out farming the Shaco, which is really good for me. Right here, Jax gets kind of caught, and I'm right here to just clean this up fairly easily. Now I'm 4-2-2. Like, my patience and my farming paid off really well for me. I'm able to pick up a few kills here and there, give my team a few kills here and there, and work from there. Now I pick up my Cinderhawk right here. I want to be able to tank as much damage as possible. Also, Cinderhawk is going to give me extra clear potential. I could have picked up my boots here instead, but I found it better because I had I had enough money, just barely with the futures market, to get my Cinderhawk straight up. So having that extra HP for tankiness is very useful. Also, the extra burn damage from the Cinderhawk is going to help me out a lot. Now right here, again, I lead with my smite, slow him down, then get in range of my E, use my E on her first, lock him down and then hit him a couple times with Q, and then as soon as the lockdown is about to end, then I ult her, hit him another couple times, and then he literally just couldn't move, and I just killed him straight up. That's the power of Skarner. You just lock him down so long that it doesn't matter anymore. Alright, pick up the mid turret right there. It's really good for me. Now, right here, I just need to go walk a bit down because Lulu is going to have some problems in bot lane right now. So I'm definitely looking to back her up. Like, I'm going to have to be the one that carries this team through this game. Because my top lane is 1-6, mid lane, bot lane, like, they're all 1-3. So pretty much their deaths combined is, like, insanely high. This is definitely a game where I'm far behind on, like, the enemy. But I'm not behind. I'm equal with, like, the Shaco right now. Pretty much. But my team is so far behind that I'm going to have to make the plays this one. And then, yeah. Alright, here again, I need to back up my Lulu until Kokma at least gets in lane. My ult is up, so I can definitely look for a play or make something work. I see the Thresh, not the Thresh. The Taric caught out a little bit, so I can definitely ult him in. I didn't know Shaco was there, so Shaco kind of shows up still. And kills the Lulu in return, but honestly, trading like that's not bad at all for us, because we need, every single bit of gold we can get. Really. Vayne stays out of position here. Yorick TP'd behind the enemies, so that's really good for us. And then we kill out the Yorick and the Shaco here, so it eventually turns up to be a 3-for-2 with a Yorick TP. Yorick gets a little bit of gold out of that. I mainly get a lot of gold out of that. Puts Kokma in a decent position because he does get his Rage Blade out of that fight as well. So that's really not too bad for us. That puts us in a good position in the game again there, and that's just... like, that's kind of me carrying that fight, just getting the Taric and just doing as much damage as possible because I'm far ahead. So that's what I've made up for. Like, I made up for my team kind of slacking by just farming constantly and trying to look for my own picks, getting myself ahead and working from there. Now right here, the Diana was in range for me to just E fairly easily, so you lead with E, then auto attack to stun her. I didn't have ult up right there, but I would have come up quite soon, so if I had to chase her for a longer period of time, then I would have been fine. I also still had red buff, so there was really nothing that Diana could do to get away from us, and then the Zed just showed up. This time he showed up, and then we killed that guy fairly easily. I'm 7-2 and 4, I'm definitely far ahead. I have 2.7k gold right now, so that's gonna be like, probably my boots, actually. I don't know what I'm buying here. Yeah, I buy my Ninja Tabai here with probably like HP and armor. Yeah, parts of the Deadman's Blade. Deadman's Blade's gonna help me a lot here because a lot of their damage, apart from Diana of course, is physical damage. Sure, Jax does some hybrid damage, but yeah, definitely the armor item with some HP is very useful. Jax jumps in on me right here. What he does not know though is I'm actually quite a bit stronger than him. Sure, Taric ult kind of prevents me from going for some damage, but I kind of wanted to bait him upwards a little bit together, like to do this right here. Because as soon as Taric ult ends, I can ult one of them into the turret range, and then that way I would have baited them in. But the Jax was smart enough to back off. Taric wasn't, however, so Taric died for that mistake. Alright, here I'm just taking as much farm as I possibly can, honestly, because I kind of need to take my lead. I do want to give it to Kokma. Like, Kokma's the only champion I kind of want to give it to. Some farm still, because of the fact that he is Kokma, and I kind of need him to carry, because I don't do enough damage by myself to actually 1v9 the enemy team. I can make a lot of plays, but I won't be able to 1v9 anyone. That's a really good cheese Shaco play. Like, those are the type of jukes. I was like, he's definitely gonna go this way, but he wasn't, so yeah. Hey. Now here we spot the Shaco again, so I kind of over-chased him a little bit. I mean, I should have honestly just kind of let him go. There was really not much to be had here. The Yorick doesn't fall back either to cut off the Shaco. I mean, Shaco still gets out, like, either way. He would have gotten out anyway, because he kind of juked me in the first place, so it's really not much for me to do after that. I'm still 7-2 and 5 with 140 CS, so I'm definitely doing well on that front. That's really the only way that I kept in this game, having equal CS with, like, solo laners and all that. Now here Vayne walks up. I tried to, like, CC the Vayne down as long as possible, but the Yorick didn't really do any damage to the Vayne right there, so we didn't kill him. Taric was out of position, though. We locked him down and killed him, so that's pretty good still. If the Yorick had a little bit more damage there, we would have been able to kill the Vayne as well, but yeah. Right here, I just catch the Diana with my E, lock her down, then catch her with another E because of, like, CDR that I have. And then that way I just kill her straight up. Kokma is picking up a few kills here and there, getting himself back into some gold. So that's really good for me. Like, he's really the other teammate I need. I can peel for him, I can engage for him, but he kind of needs to do most of the damage because, again, SKARNER doesn't have that much damage output by himself. He does a good amount, especially if you're ahead like me right now. You do a very good amount of damage, but you're mainly engaged still. Now right here I see a dragon up. I definitely want to be able to take this dragon because we can't give him double mountain. That makes the Baron very scary. Now sadly though, Shaco does get it. So that kind of puts him in an awkward position, but because he did that, he did die for it. And that pretty much means that we can Baron off that. Because he died for it, Shaco is dead, they have no jungler now. Shaco pretty much traded his life to get the Mountain Dragon, but then lose Baron for it, because he straight up died to me. Or just died in general. So, that was, I mean, it was good from him if he could have escaped that situation, but because he died, it allowed us to get a free Baron off that. Especially since Diana died as well. So that put us in a very good position right now. Now right here also, something to note, something I quickly want to mention to you guys. This Diana made a really big mistake by actually picking up a Void Staff this early. Like, we barely have any magic resist. I mean, sure, we have like one magic resist item on some members. But, like, picking up that Void Staff, it's only good when the enemy team actually has magic resist. So, for just a quick FYI for anyone, really, don't pick up a Void Staff like second item. That's just not worth it. Unless they have heavy magic resist. Alright, we're just looking for a pick. I hit the Jax with my E. I kind of might be looking for maybe a Jax pick off here. Maybe a Vayne one. I'm just looking to ult something, really. I'll slow this down. Right here, this is about where the fight's gonna happen. I'm just looking for a pick right now. I'm just looking to get close enough to ult somebody towards my Kokma so that he can hit it. And then we can be fine that way. Now the Yorick gets kind of caught out here a little bit. He does flash out though, it's not bad. Diana walks up too far because she dashed in. I slowed him down enough that he just wasn't able to move. And then we pick him up like that. Right here, I just ult the Jax. Actually, no, I didn't ult the Jax. I ult the Shaco. I ult the clone from Shaco, actually, let me put it that way. The reason I was holding my ult, actually, yeah, is because I was waiting for Shaco to jump in on my Kokma. there was really nothing else that was threatening Kokma in that specific situation right there. So holding my ult for Shaco, I mean, I did hit his clone, not gonna lie. But that's, Shaco just used that croc correctly. I had to guess which one the real one was, and I'm not even sure if that might have been just the first Shaco to pop up that I ulted. But I wanted to make sure that I ulted Shaco so that as soon as Kokma gets, like, as soon as he tries to assassinate our Kokma, then I just ult him and prevent his damage. He did get me. I did ult his clone, I know, but hey. Alright, here we're looking to pressure the turrets down. We're kind of looking to end, which is honestly not the best call, but my team made that call, and I was like, I kind of have to follow this call, I suppose. We can still get 2 turrets here, no problem. But it was kind of a situation where probably we couldn't have ended because the Jax and the Shaco were actually quite close to like getting back. Now, Jax does teleport into our base. He does have the minions advantage right here, but we do have to remember that Lulu is still here, and Lulu is very annoying. Like, really annoying. Also, inhibitor just respawned, so that stalls a little bit of time for us as well, which is really good. Lulu gets a lot of free damage time on this. And because we also did get the inhibitor mid, we do get some super minions that are helping us out here as well, and just clearing the wave, so that's really good for us too. Now Lulu is just stalling the Jax out. Jax is only going to be able to get 1 turret and the inhibitor. If that inhibitor didn't respawn right there, we might have had a problem, and Jax might have been able to end, depending on if he would have dove the Lulu or not. But it does save us enough time to be able to get back here. Again, my lanes are doing pretty shitty still. Kokma is like catching up. He has 3 items right now, which is pretty good. I'm 11, 3, and 11, doing really well for myself. I also have 181 CS, keeping that farm up, which was very important this game. They do get the other inhibitor on top lane, but right now, honestly, it just comes down to SKARNER, because right now the Vayne is still overextended, as you can see right here. Vayne's heavily overextended. I have a lot of extra movement speed. I just go on top of her, catch the Vayne out completely, lock her down with my ultimate, pull her back into our team. She doesn't have a QSS yet. And at that point, it's just game. Jax is, like, Shaco is dead, Vayne is dead, and Jax is gonna be back alive once we get to their base. But because the Vayne and the Shaco kind of overextended on that one, they just gave up because the SKARNER engage is too strong for the Vayne to handle, and she just died to it. I have too much movement speed. That's why you go for, like, a movement speed heavy build, / slow heavy build. This game I went for a random wins on SKARNER because I did have a lot of crit champions to deal with. So yeah, right here, I just help CC my team as much as possible, prevent the Kokma from dying. You kind of have to peel that way, and then you just end the game off this. So yeah, that's pretty much like SKARNER gameplay. Also, like, a very good example of how you can, like, stay in a game, if you know what I'm saying. Like, all my lanes were losing, all my lanes were very far behind, but because SKARNER is very OP as well, so that gave me quite a good advantage here too. But because I kept farming and I kept going for just picks that would work for me, that's the way I actually won this game, and that's the way you're gonna gotta play it. Like, if you're behind, some people like make comments like, oh, I only use winning gameplays, but most of the games I just win that hard, you know. It's just because of like proper mechanics and just keeping your farm going, like this game right here. I could have easily lost this, but because I kept my like the same way going, like farming, ganking whenever it suits me perfectly to get a kill, that's how you get ahead. That's why you just, most of my gameplays are just like that. Like, unless the game's real shitty, but hey, just saying. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the thumbs up below, helps me a lot. If you want to see more videos from me as well, hit that subscribe button. If you have any champions you want to request, then also just put it in the comments below. I read all my comments at least, so hey. Yeah, that's probably it. See you guys in the next video. Bye!